I'm Sarah Ryan, and you are in for a treat tonight at the Expo Center Arena. This season opener is a rematch of last season's Western Conference semifinal between the Edmonton Stingers and Calgary Surge. Last season, the Surge headed home with the W, and I bet the Stingers who are returning are looking for a little revenge. Let's throw it over now to our stellar broadcasting duo, Pulsar and Doug McLean.
Thanks, Sarah. And yeah, it's really exciting, Paul, to be back. Season 7 in the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Pretty exciting to be here. And hey, how else would you start a season than with a provincial rivalry and the team that's knocked out the Edmonton Stingers the last 2 seasons?
It's a great way to start in the season number 7, which is unbelievable to hear that number. It is awesome to have pro basketball of this quality in Canada, continuing to grow and to thrive. And as you said, Doug, to be able to square off against your provincial rival like this to get things going in season number 7 couldn't be better.
And lots of changes on both rosters. We'll get to that over the course of the day. Let's take a look at the matchup. And these are the numbers from last year. Both teams could score the ball pretty well. 2 teams, though, Paul, that we expect to be largely defensive-focused teams, especially Jordan Baker. You know he wants his team to be defense first, and how that helps them build their offensive game.
You know that, but in the CEBL, good offense beats good defense. And when you get the skilled players that you have in the CEBL, and when you look at the rosters of today's game, defense is going to be reliant on the instincts and your training that you're bringing to the table today, because the players are going to bring an awful lot of offensive skill and offensive readiness, and they're going to be ready to go out and start scoring in bunches right away.
Stingers last year 4th in the league, defensively Surge 5. Let's go now to Sarah Ryan with Stinger head coach and general manager Jordan Baker.
All right, so Jordan, last season, not the way the Stingers wanted to go out. Do you and the returning players come into this season with a little bit of memory of what happened last year, or is it fresh start for you?
I mean, I think we're all trying to, teach the new faces that, we don't like Calgary very much. So regardless of who's in the building for them, who's in the building for us, that starts tonight.
Some critical players returning for the Stingers this year. You look at Nick Hornsby. He had an excellent performance last year for the Stingers. To have a player like that back on a team that has so many new faces, how critical is that, and what are you expecting from him?
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason he's our team captain. He does a lot of things for us on the score sheet and otherwise. So we're really excited about being able to lean on him early in the season while we wait for some other players to come on.
Absolutely, and you have some new faces, including Scotty Lindsay, someone who's familiar with the CEBL, but new here. What do you expect from those new players, especially early on in the season while you're still waiting for a couple other faces to reappear?
Yeah, him and Devontae have been veterans in the league. We know what they can do. We just want them to be themselves, and hopefully do it for us instead of in another uniform.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jordan. Appreciate that. All right, well, you're watching CEBL basketball live on Game Plus, TSN Plus, and CEBL Plus, powered by TonyBet.
This is Canada's League, back for season number 7. Born on our courts, built for our culture. Coast to coast, every city with its own story. The Blackjacks represent pride, purpose, and precision.
For 3, it's good!
Scarborough, here stars shine and trends are set. The Shooting Stars are more than a team, they're a movement. Montreal, culture, swagger, and a certain je ne sais quoi. Championship DNA, proven and relentless. 2-time champs, and still hungry. The Honey Badgers, they live up to their name, relentless and unafraid. Reigning champions, ready to run it back. Winnipeg, fearless and always ready to strike. Saskatchewan, the Prairie Grit. Here, they play for each other. Western pride and Stampede spirit. Bandits show up when the lights come on, and they hunt as a pack. We are Canada's league. This is our game. This is the CEBL. Pull up.
Expo Center, there you look at the Expo Center Arena site here of the opening game for the 7th CEBL season. Doug McLean, Paul Sir, Sarah Ryan on the call. And Paul, you've identified some of the keys to the game for tonight's matchup between the Calgary Surge and the Edmonton Stingers. Let's start off with those you've got for Calgary.
I think that when you're trying to look at keys for the game, when you don't know the personnel all that well, you're looking at fundamentals. Attack the Stingers early inside. The Stingers are not very big in the post. Go at them. Test the pick and roll defense of the Stingers by coming outside, getting your bigs rolling to the basket, and of course, control the defensive glass. When you do that, all kinds of options open up for you.
And now let's look at those for the Stingers.
On the Stingers side, you got to build confidence and chemistry with your new players by working extremely hard right out of the gate. You got to value the rock, take care of the basketball, limit the turnovers, especially early in the season, and solid fundamental defense and rebounding. Trust your training. Be ready to go, do what you know, and build that confidence and chemistry one step at a time.
Just about set to go here for tip-off at the Expo Center. Let's take a look at today's starting lineups presented by Tony Betts. For the Calgary Surge, it'll be Ruggsy Miller-Moore, Jameer Nelson Jr., Greg Brown III, Kyrie Thomas, and Gabe Osaboyan. For the Stingers, Sean East II, Devontae Bandu. You heard Sarah talk about him along with Jordan Baker, Nick Hornsby, as well as Scotty Lindsay and Kevin Bursey. And now let's look at, Paul, the players you've identified. Calgary's player to watch, also presented by Tony Bett.
As we used to call him, Sean Miller-Moore, now Ruggsy Miller-Moore is the player that has been a stalwart for Calgary. So we look for him to anchor this Calgary offense and defense to start out as they integrate new players into the team. And we can switch over to the Edmonton player to watch, who I think in essence brings the same thing. Nick Hornsby, third year with the Stingers, rock solid Swiss Army knife to the team, has to step up in all departments, particularly in leadership and culture, because this is a new group of players, a new group of faces with all kinds of talent, and they got to find a way to win by playing together right out of the gate.
Tonight's tip-off is presented by Spalding, the official game ball of the CEBL. You take a look there at Nick Hornsby, third year in the CEBL with the Edmonton Stingers.
There's a lot of intriguing players out here. As we go through the game, we'll identify them, Doug. But their pedigree is really impressive. And I think if there's something that you consistently see throughout the CEBL over this past 7 years, the players that enter the league, not only the players coming back to the league, but the new players coming into the league, get better and better and bring more and more to the table. This is really exciting to see this 7th rendition of the Edmonton Stingers take the court in the Expo Hall.
Now, let's correct myself. Of course, it's Keon Ambrose Hilton in the starting lineup, and he'll be the one taking the opening tip for the Stingers. Up against Greg Brown for the Calgary Surge.
When you look at, I mentioned some of the pedigree, like on the Stingers side, Sean East, young guy out of Missouri, led the Romanian league, which is a very good league, in scoring in his first pro season. He can really fill it up, along with Scotty Lindsay, who has experienced two successful years, as you listen to the roar of the crowd, but 2 successful years in the CEBL. They bring an awful lot of offensive firepower to this Stinger team.
And the 7th season of the Canadian Elite Basketball League is underway. Stingers win the tip. Stingers in the yellow with blue and white. The Surge in the black uniforms with red and white, and an early turnover committed by the Stingers, and back up the floor. This is Brown. Gets right around Nick Hornsby, and he will open the scoring on the season. 2-0 Surge.
Brown is really long. Like, they list him at 6'8", and he's all of 6'8", and really took the ball nicely up the court.
Van Du look inside to Ambrose Hilton, just off his outstretched fingers.
A couple of nervous plays to get started in the season. That's to be expected. Now the Stingers have to hunker down on defense in their first half-court defensive possession.
It will be Brown who will inbound the ball to Jameer Nelson Jr.
Jameer Nelson Jr., his father had a long, successful, stellar NBA career. And he, for all intents and purposes, comes with rave reviews about his ability to put the ball in the basket.
Saboyan kicks it out. Brown, that three a little strong. That's going to be a shot clock violation, as that one taken with about 1 second on the clock. You mentioned Jameer Nelson, 14-year NBA career. Of course, had a stellar college career as well at St. Joseph's, led to a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament and a trip to the Elite Eight back in 2004. And his son following his father's footsteps, and he's going to pick up a foul there on the dive to the rim by Ambrose Hilton.
Early, I mean, as early can be. But you're seeing the Stingers running what you're used to seeing with Jordan Baker's offensive style.
Now you look at the officials. Wasim Husseini, Perry Stothert, and Joanna Wiegers. Tonight's officials. And Ambrose Hilton, first point of the season for Edmonton.
Ambrose Hilton played for SMU, the SMU Mustangs in the NCAA. Brings a lot of length and shot blocking ability to the middle for the Stingers.
His first pro experience too, as he just finished with Southern Methodist.
Changed the shot on that attack by Calgary.
Not a big score, 4 points a game this past season, but as you said, Paul, there they can certainly disrupt around the rim, as that look from Lindsay goes off the front of the iron. And now here is Miller Moore, one of two returning Surge players. Saboyan, the other returnee for Calgary. That triple knocked down for Kyrie Thomas.
Beautiful stroke by Thomas. This Calgary team is, and I think one of, if I could define one characteristic of both teams, it's athleticism.
Ambrose Hilton with the corner jumper for Edmonton.
Off to a nice start. Changed one shot, stopped another, and just hit a mid-range jump shot.
Saboyan knocks down a triple himself. Gabe Saboyan. Nice stroke as well. Last year, 33% from the three-point line. And Hornsby working hard inside, draws the contact, and he'll head to the free throw line.
Nice uplift by Nick to draw the contact, get to the free throw line. Saboyan, just to point out as well, was Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12. That's no joke. The Big 12, if you're the Defensive Player of the Year in the Big 12, you can play defense, because my goodness, do they play defense in that league.
Back in 2022, won that honor.
Nick Hornsby hitting his first free throw. Again, you look at Nick, I mentioned in my opening comments, Swiss Army knife. Nick does everything well and needs to do that to solidify this young lineup in terms of experience together.
Hits them both. He was a 76% free throw shooter on the best free throw shooting team in the league a year ago. Stingers were 82% from the line on the season. That three a little bit short, and east up the floor for Edmonton. They'll pull things back. Miller Moore on him. Hornsby has that ball poked out of bounds by Nelson Jr.
Nelson Jr. really moves like his dad did, and in the last play, even though the shot was missed, he made a beautiful jump stop penetration, kicked it to the corner for the wide open three, and made a nice defensive play on Nick, even though he had a size disadvantage.
East kicks it out. Hornsby thought about the three. Just forced to put one up. That one gets blocked, and that will be a shot clock violation on the Stingers. 7:01 to go here in the opening quarter. Win a 2025 championship weekend experience in Winnipeg, courtesy of Neo. Enter now by purchasing CEBL ticket with your Neo credit, a CEBL ticket with your Neo credit card on cebl.ca/Neo. Sign up now and get a $25 bonus. Tough look inside for Nelson Jr. That one won't drop, and now Sean East up the floor for Edmonton. To his right now on Miller Moore. Free for Hornsby. Rolls around a little more, and pops out.
Toilet seat.
Miller Moore loses control, and he'll fall on the sideline. Scotty Lindsay trying to get the ball back quickly, and here's that miss for Hornsby.
Did everything but go in.
East through Bandu, Hornsby now to Lindsay. Lindsay and Bandu were teammates on that 2022 Saskatchewan Rattlers team. Here is Devontae Bandu. Look inside, Ambrose Hilton. A great block from behind by Greg Brown.
Greg Brown is showing right out of the gate his pedigree.
That is not an easy, and you as a big man, that's not an easy play to make, trying to block the ball from behind. I mean, 9 times out of 10, that's a foul.
9 times out of 10, and I ain't never doing that. That's for sure. But he can play. He can play. Has NBA experience, and you're seeing that early on.
Greg Brown, a 2021 second-round pick of the New Orleans Pelicans. Osaboyan inside, and they're going to call a foul here on Nick Hornsby.
I just thought he pulled the chair on him, to be honest.
Get a great look at it here from our crew inside.
I did, yeah. I questioned that one. He just pulled back. He did exactly what you're supposed to do in terms of defending in the low post, and got the player off balance, but the officials saw it differently.
Osaboyan at the line, 81% a year ago. Calgary Surge team, as mentioned earlier, have knocked off the Stingers in the playoffs in back-to-back seasons. Last year, Calgary fell to Vancouver 89-87 in the semifinal.
One thing that I'm seeing consistently across both lineups right now, Doug, is just how everybody looks fundamentally solid in how they shoot the ball, move without the ball, and handle the ball.
Bandu has that pass intended for Ambrose Hilton, tipped away by Osaboyan. He'll take it right to the rim and draw another foul. This one's going to go on Devontae Bandu.
My comment earlier about Osaboyan, Defensive Player of the Year, we've seen 2 sequences, the last 2 possessions by the Stingers. We've seen his defensive prowess in action.
Bandu will pick up that foul, his first, team second. Toronto native Osaboyan knocks down the first.
Out of the gate, I would comment that Nelson looks very assured that he's going to dribble, penetrate, and find gaps and openings for his teammates for the Surge. The Stingers are struggling a little bit out of the gate to find open players. The ball seems to be one pass and stop, so they're going to have to move the ball more effectively going forward.
Hornsby to the elbow to Ambrose Hilton. He'll work against Osaboyan. Hornsby finds Lindsay, and there's a triple for Scotty Lindsay.
Scotty Lindsay can really shoot the 3. Playing at Northwestern in the Big Ten, you have to be able to shoot the 3. Nice finish.
Tough take there for Nelson Jr. As you said, Paul, nice finish for him. 6-point Surge lead as we near the midway mark of the opening quarter. Bandu takes a screen from Ambrose Hilton. Bandu will pull up. That jumper goes in early on, seeing a little bit of a different look to the kind of offense Edmonton can create. Did not have a great shooting team from the perimeter a year ago.
And boy, oh boy, is that fun to watch. The last 2 shots by Bandu and Lindsay, and Calgary and Nelson Jr. in particular keeps finding the seams in the Stinger defense and successful getting to the rim. There's our guy,
Scotty Lindsay, as we start to roll here a little bit.
I was watching some of his highlights. I've been looking forward to seeing that stroke in a Stingers uniform, and so far so good.
Miller Moore cross court to Brown. That three won't go. All yellow jerseys around that rebound, and East will come up with it for Edmonton. Lindsay, he's feeling it right now. A little strong on that long triple.
Hey.
Now Brown up the floor. Gets cut off by East. And it's going to be a foul call on Sean East II, and we're going to step out ourselves. Stingers have cut the deficit to 3. They trail 16-13 here at the Expo Center. You're watching CEBL basketball live on Game Plus, TSN Plus, and CEBL Plus, powered by TonyBet.
How does it sound?
Download the CEBL mobile app now.
All right, so you can see here the Stingers fan base picking up where they left off last year. It is very busy here in the Expo Center Arena, and it's something we're going to speak to the league's commissioner about here shortly, about the expanding fan base and growth of the league. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, Alex Sir said another great crowd. So there's been a hallmark of games here at Expo Center Arena over the years.
It's a fantastic arena, wonderful environment, and the Edmonton fans they always come with high expectations and a lot of love for the Stingers.
Two substitutions into the game for both sides. Tay Donald, who was with the Stingers a year ago as a youth sports player, now back with Edmonton, as well as Farid Shitu, who finished his youth sports career at UBC. I think we're just getting a correction on numbers. I think Stefan Jankovic might have been an incorrect number somewhere, but nonetheless, he's all good to go and wearing number 24. He's into the game for the first time for Calgary.
Been looking forward to watching Jankovic play. I love Eastern European basketball and European basketball in general.
Well, you just got a good look at him right there as
Nick
picks up the foul.
Nick has had 2 outstanding low post defensive plays. This one he didn't pull the chair, and Jankovic definitely threw the elbow to create the contact and get the charge call for Hornsby. Great job in the low block by Nick.
We've seen, again, your Swiss Army knife comparison to Nick Hornsby. I mean, you'll see him sometimes defending the 5. I mean, that's something that may happen from time to time throughout this season.
Absolutely. Really one of the positionless players.
Lindsay a little bit shy on that 3.
Well contested. I'll be interested to see how Lindsay uses his shot fake to clear himself for shots when he's being, because everybody's going to figure out real quickly how well he shoots the ball. So they're going to take that away from him. So I'm curious to see Scotty, what he's willing to do to put the ball on the floor to create his own opportunities.
Timeout called by the Surge with 3:29 to go, 16-13. Stingers up, or Stingers trailing, I should say, Calgary. Cal Tire, a proud partner and tire expert of the CEBL. Shop top tire brands and have peace of mind with Cal Tire's price match guarantee. Shop and book at caltire.com. We saw Tay Donald into the lineup for the Stingers in that last possession. And interesting, a player who didn't see a lot of floor time last year. Again, a U Sports player playing with the Wilfrid Laurier Golden Hawks. But when you and I were out of practice this week, a noticeable air around him of leadership in terms of what he was bringing, both in terms of play on the floor, but also just conversation. And really interesting to see that from a young guy. But like I said, didn't see a ton of time last year. Got into 9 games with pretty limited minutes for him.
You know, it is really interesting. Number one, he's a year older, so he had another year of university basketball. But this is where I think that the CEBL has had a great vision of bringing U Sports players into the fold and allowing them to have that experience, because now he knows what to expect at this level. So he's not only a better player because of what he did on the university court, he has a frame of reference to step on a pro court and be ready to go and not be surprised by it. You're right, he had a different look, a different feel, and I talked to several people who have been watching him, and they say they really expect that he's going to be able to contribute this year.
Averaged just under 20 points a game a year ago as Jameer Nelson Jr. scores again. But for Donald, just under 20 points, third in Ontario University athletics. And for the second straight year, led Wilfrid Laurier, and here he is with the ball. Number 3 for the Stingers. That jumper a little bit strong. Jankovic with the board.
As I say that, he's playing against a very experienced player in Nelson Jr., so this is baptism by fire for him as well.
Mane into the game for Calgary. That look won't drop for him, and up the floor is Devontae Bandu. To his right, left open for a jumper, and that one gets the kind
Sweet roll
touch. Really, yeah, nice touch.
Shooter's touch
By Bandu, who's already liking the rims here at the Expo Center Arena.
Well, and I can see why. He has got a beautiful stroke, and the ball is soft on the rim, so he's going to have opportunities for shots that don't necessarily go right through to be able to go in like he just had with the shooter's bounce.
They're just confirming that that basket's going to count. Foul on the Stingers. And they're just checking to see, are we shooting 2 or are we shooting 1? Basket goes. We'll head to the line. Sarah.
Talking about rebounds there, offensively, Surge coach Caleb talking about his team telling them that the Stingers are small and that they should follow up, crash the boards every time. Offensively, they think that they can win those balls back if they don't drain them.
They do have a length advantage. Both teams are very athletic, but we all know, Doug, that one of the things that you can negate in basketball is some of the advantage that height may create by just good fundamental defense, blocking out and pursuing the ball actively.
Caleb Canales in his first year as the head coach of the Calgary Surge.
Familiar face at the free throw line in the newly designated Ruggsy Miller-Moore. He's had some really nice games against the Stingers over these last years rather. So like Nick Hornsby, we made the comparison. Nick Hornsby is to the Stingers what Ruggsy is to the Surge.
And Miller-Moore checks out. Olamide Adeladun checks in for the Surge, and Sean East knocks down that long-range jumper.
I like seeing East being used as a shooting guard as opposed to the point guard, because he can really stroke it, and that's where his teammate. You wouldn't have seen that play from Moon last year. Scotty Lindsay,
great find,
beautiful,
basically from under the rim, kicks it all the way back to the wing, and Scotty Lindsay knocks down yet another 3 here in this opening quarter. Tie ball game. That ball's out of bounds. It's going to be Edmonton basketball.
Nick Hornsby meeting Nelson Jr. as he turned the corner, forcing the turnover.
Aaron Rooms will check in. Aaron Rooms, the Stingers' first pick in the CEBL draft this past season. He was a member of the Stingers a year ago as well. And as the season went on, started to play more and more and contribute more and more. And I think there's some big expectations of him this year, coming off another strong season with the Toronto Metropolitan University Bowl.
Absolutely.
Here's Mane looking against East. He stopped up and kick it back out to Deladune. Nelson. He gets knocked over by Tay Donald. Donald will pick up the foul.
That was well defended on the perimeter. Unfortunately, it ended in a foul, but the initial defensive stand was solid.
Into the penalty, so the Surge will shoot a couple. There you see that foul on Donald. It will be Jameer Nelson Jr. at the free throw line.
It's been a well-played game so far. 5 just going into the penalty with 1:17 to go. Calgary only with 3 fouls. The officials are letting them play. I think that's a trend in the NBA that I think will trickle down into the CEBL, is that more physical play, reasonable physical play will be allowed. Touch fouls won't be as common as maybe we've seen in the past.
Nelson Jr. spent this past season in the G League with the Austin Spurs, completing his final season in the NCAA. Played 1 year at Texas Christian University, 2 each at Delaware and George Washington.
He looks like a G League player. He plays like a G League player, under control, looking for gaps to attack, looking to dribble, penetrate, and kick to a teammate.
Here's Rooms. A little bit of space short on that 3, 7 on the shot clock. Shot from East is blocked, but he'll put up with the left hand, and we are tied again at 23.
I think we're going to see more and more offensive contribution from Sean East as the game and the season go on. This guy can fill it up.
Jankovic thought about 3. He'll be fouled. So they'll go on East for the reach, I think. As he stepped in to help out Aaron Rooms. No, they're actually going to give it to Rooms.
I think that was the right call, to be honest. I think that Rooms made the contact. East did reach, but Rooms made the contact that threw Jankovic off balance.
Stefan Jankovic, native of Mississauga, and went a little ways away from Mississauga to play in the NCAA at the University of Hawaii. As the 2016 Big West Player of the Year. This is the second, much to the delight of this fairly energetic crowd here in Edmonton.
Got to love that right out of the gate, that they're making it tough for the opponent to hit a free throw.
East takes the screen, pull-up jumper, in and out. Shitu tries to keep it alive. Calgary will come up with it. Here's Mane.
Down to the last few seconds of the first quarter.
Shot clock is off. Mane to his left. That's going to be a travel as that pivot foot drag is trying to work his way back around Fareed Shitu. 3.9 to go in a tie ball game. Timeout called by Jordan Baker and the Stingers. When you come into a new CBL season, and especially with lots of player turnover, new players, new coaches in some cases too, it can take a little bit of time. This has felt like a different first quarter. Teams seem to have a little bit more connectivity than maybe you might expect early in a season when they've only, in most cases, had about a week together.
I think it's a good observation, and I think it is bearing itself out on the court like that, Doug. Both teams, what impresses me is the pace of play. Both teams are playing fast, but not out of control. Looking for ways to attack early, but if they don't have it, they move the ball around. So you're absolutely right. This does not look like the first quarter of the first game of a brand new season. It's been well played.
Yeah, very well played. Opening. Well, we're not quite at 10 yet. 3.9 to go. Stingers will inbound.
Stingers will have enough time, if they're able to get a good angle on the inbounds pass, to attack and get a good shot. Be interesting to see how Calgary defends this off the gate to try to bump them off and force them to take their time bringing the ball up court.
Donald, East, Shitu, Lindsay, and Rooms for the Stingers. Brown, Osifo, Jackson, Mane, and Adeladun for Calgary. That ball goes out of bounds. It's going to be Calgary basketball with 2.2 to go. Now the opportunity flips, and Calgary the chance to head into the quarter break with a lead as Keon Ambrose Hilton will check into the game. And Fried Shitu will come out, so a little more size.
They're going to put
the inbound.
Yeah, defend on the ball, get the longest arms on the team as high as possible. Great wingspan, make it as difficult as possible to get a pass towards the basket.
Deladoon, 3 off the back iron and won't drop. So, through 10 minutes of play, pretty good ball game. 23 apiece as we start the 7th CEBL season. Thanks for tuning in. No matter where you're watching from, you're checking out and watching CEBL basketball live on Game Plus, TSN Plus, and CEBL Plus, powered by Tony Bet.
When Crystal Glass introduced our residential window line this past year, it was essential to manufacture them locally.
Crystal Glass has always been a proudly Canadian company.
We employ Canadians, we serve Canadians, and we are Canadians. So you know our windows are designed and built for our climate.
And since we've been the clear choice for glass for over 75 years, you can trust our quality and service.
Visit one of our over 50 locations across Western Canada or at crystalglass.ca. Financing is now available.
We've made a commitment to Championship Weekend again in 2025 in Winnipeg. I think you'll see the biggest and best Championship Weekend to date.
Every jump, every pivot, every heartbeat on the court, precision matters. Mayfair Diagnostics is proud to be the official medical imaging provider of the Calgary Surge. Mayfair provides a variety of medical imaging services, including MRI, ultrasound, X-ray, and numerous other services. With 15 locations in Calgary and area, Mayfair brings the clarity when it counts, because when the pressure is on, performance starts with precision.
Well, welcome back. I'm here with Mike Moriali, the CEBL Commissioner and co-founder. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
So, with the league expanding this year, there's now 24 games in a season. Talk to us about why you want to do that.
Well, it's not just we that want to do it. I think the fans really want it. The players want it. They want more basketball, and we're here to deliver it. I think over the years, we continue to refine the business and get to a point now where extra games are meaningful in many ways. And, you know, we just love playing the style of basketball we do, and if we can give more, we're going to give more.
Absolutely. So let's stick with that fan base. We know that it's very busy here in Edmonton today on Mother's Day for the season opener, and we have seen a lot of growth in the league's fan base. We saw the Calgary Surge play at the Saddle Dome a couple of times. What can fans expect when it comes to venue growth with the league?
Well, I think, you know, this is a disruptor league. We're always trying to do things differently. Our teams are taking some risks. They're paying off. You know, we got a full crowd here today. Who's to say that one day this doesn't get played in a much bigger venue somewhere here in town? We're trying neutral site games. We're playing our first ever 5x5 game outdoors this year in Montreal. And the growth of the league is special for many ways. But really what it impacts in the communities that we're in is really important. And what we're able to do to help players get to the path that they want to get to is important as well.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mike. We'll throw it back to you. Doug, Paul?
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Commissioner. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Commissioner Moriali. Always nice to see him here in town when he makes his way around the league.
Excellent out-of-bounds play design on a slip by Nick Hornsby for the easy layup. Great start. Great start. East had a nice shot as well. So Stingers are up 2 now. Really the first lead for the Stingers in the game.
Deladoon a little short on that 3. Sean East the second up to 4 for the Stingers. Quick look at a 3 himself. A little bit short. foul on Calgary. It is going to go on DJ Jackson for a hold on Aaron Rooms. While you're taking a look at some of the numbers to the opening 10, anything that pops out to you?
Scotty Lindsay's shooting 9 points in the first foray, and then Jameer Nelson 8 points, 2 assists. Had an outstanding first quarter.
Surge with 6 turnovers, the Stingers with 5.
Stingers with 5 assists, so a 1-to-1 assist to turnover ratio in the first quarter is awfully good.
Hey, Donald
that kid can play.
right to the rim.
That kid can play. His instincts are so good. He's going to be a real impact player for this team.
Thomas, nice
shot.
Jumper from 6 feet.
But I really like how Ambrose Hilton pursued him on defense. He's very agile and moves well.
East pops to the middle of the lane, collects that pass. That's a tough jumper from about 8 feet out.
We've talked before. Last year, the Stingers struggled with a player like that who hunted his shot. You can see Sean really is looking to score because A, he can, and he can score in a variety of ways.
Greg Brown loses it, and now East quickly up the floor, hands it off to Hornsby on the floor. Gets to the middle of the lane, rebound Ambrose Hilton, will put it right back home.
He's very active under the basket. I'm glad Nick put it up on the rim, and Ambrose Hilton went after it hard, even though the Surge player fell down.
Saboyan gets bumped as he reaches the rim, and he'll head to the free throw line. As Ruxy Miller-Moore about to check back into the game for Calgary.
That's the kind of foul I'm curious about here. I'm not sure. Maybe there was some contact on the arm. There certainly was a bit of a bump on the drive, but that was to me, that's a no call.
It might have been the swat on the left arm is what they ultimately got Nick Hornsby for. That's his second, team's first here in this second quarter. Saboyan back at the free throw line. 4 for 4 at the line in the opening quarter.
Nice stroke, nice touch. Broadcaster's curse. Unfortunately,
I'm great at that. It's amazing. Like, I'm not good at much, but I'll tell you, that is a skill I have. Miller-Moore, great job. Great find initially, and then he goes up and under.
Outstanding finish by Miller-Moore.
Sean East, he'll dribble back out. Left-hand pass over to Tay Donald. 3 a little short, and Aaron Rooms comes flying from the opposite corner. Grabs the offensive board and puts it home.
You think of those two players last year compared to that play this year. They're playing like pros. Last year they played like university players trying to get a feel for what it was like to be a pro.
We had the leading scorer in Ontario in Aaron Rooms. And Tay Donald, 3rd leading scorer in Ontario this past season.
Fantastic craft by Rooms.
Sean East a little short on that lefty. And now ball pushed up the floor to Miller-Moore. Good job by Ambrose Hilton. Oh, and he got something to his knee. Is having a tough time putting much pressure. Just gives a thumbs up, says he's okay, but
came down awkwardly.
Yeah. Good effort by him to get back to cut off that look inside that Miller-Moore wanted.
I like his presence on the court, and by that I mean he's really into every play, and he's looking to contribute in small ways in every play as well.
Ball gets poked out of bounds. New Era is the exclusive game uniform partner of the CEBL and all 10 of its teams from coast to coast. Pick up your official replica jerseys today by visiting CEBL.ca.
We've got Kevin Bursey into the game for the first time for the Stingers tonight, as well as Scotty Lindsay coming back into the game right now. So got Donald, Rooms, East Jr., Bursey, and Lindsay on the court for the Stingers. Lots of shooting out there.
And Kevin Bursey got here yesterday, so this is really his first experience with the Stingers other than shoot around earlier and a shot clock violation.
Ambrose Hilton, he didn't leave the game, but he has walked away from the bench. He is getting some treatment from the trainer right now for that what looked like a knee injury at this point.
Yeah, there was an awkward landing on his part, and he definitely came up lame in the moment. Seemed to be able, feel he was going to be able to shake it off, but obviously he needs it. It needs attention paid to it. You don't want something to be aggravated this early in the season.
Nelson working against Sean East, finds Miller Moore. Inside now, Osaboyan working on Bursey. Nice elevation there by Osaboyan. Good finish.
Osaboyan's a player. He likes to drop his shoulder, create space for himself. He went right at Bursey. Impressive finish.
Rooms.
Stingers are having a hard time right now. Ball staying in one place. Calgary's really extended their pressure out, making it tough for the Stingers right now. So that's where ball movement has to remain a priority, is when guys put their head down and start handling it. If you've got athletic defenders like the Surge have, that's what's going to happen.
Well, there was Kyrie Thomas, two-time Big East Defensive Player of the Year, working on Aaron Rooms, and there wasn't a lot of room.
There was not a lot.
Like that mid-season form with that one already, right? Jumper won't drop for Edmonton, and back up the floor is Karim Mane. Leaves it for Nelson Jr. Quickly to the lane and draws the foul. And that's the thing you see with Nelson Jr. You talk about it all the time, change of pace, and that's, his dad did it, and he does it just like his dad.
Yeah, change of pace, change of direction, looking to lower his shoulder and initiate contact. Now, was that a foul? There was some contact on the arm at the end by Scotty Lindsay. I don't know if that was enough to be a foul in my opinion, but you can see there was contact. You can see why the call was made. I am hoping that through the course of the season, fewer of those calls are going to be made, like we're seeing in the NBA right now. I think it just disrupts the flow. Like, you play good defense and you have a little bit of contact like that doesn't disrupt the shot. For me, that's a no call.
Greg Brown will check in for Kyrie Thomas. Aaron Rooms bringing the ball up for Edmonton, leaves it for Lindsay. Bursey kicks it to Rooms, screen for Rooms, pull up jumper. That's going to be a foul on Kevin Bursey. Set the screen and then I think tried to just kind of spin off it, and strong man knocked his opponent to the floor.
I don't know if there was an Academy Award attempt there or not. I'd have to see the replay on it. But yeah, there was contact, certainly.
Kevin Bursey will certainly add some veteran presence for the Stingers. Graduated from St. Francis Xavier University in Antigonish, Nova Scotia back in 2018. Miller Moore thought he got fouled, no call, and back up the floor, Bandu finds Lindsay. Quick look at a three, a little short rebound. Bursey, nearly able to rip it down, but Osaboyan comes up with it. Miller Moore right to the rim for Calgary.
Surge go up by one. Nice attack by Miller Moore both times.
Nice 9-2 run here by Calgary. That's quickly ended by a three from Aaron Rooms.
To see Aaron catch the ball, confidently shoot that, is a phenomenal step forward for this young university player. And he's guarding hard. I give him credit. He is guarding hard.
Miller Moore well short, no rim there on the three. And Bandu working against Mane. Kicks it out. Sean East, look inside to Bursey for the layup. Good work there. Penetration initially sets it up by Sean East the second.
I like how Bursey comes in with his physical presence. Like, he's already banging, as exhausted as he is. He's out there ready to compete.
Battle on the boards there, won by Edmonton. East, Bandu to Bursey. Jumper a little flat, rebound Calgary. Osaboyan up the floor. Nelson Jr. step back three. Doesn't go. Rebound Sean East.
I love the defense on that. Didn't go for the fake.
Oh, good look there by East. As Lindsay set up Nelson a little bit, we'll get a timeout called by Calgary.
I'll tell you what, East, Lindsay, all day long, all season long. This is a great error.
We're head to break, taking a look at some of the work from Aaron Rooms defensively. Stingers up 42-36. You're watching CEBL basketball live on Game Plus TSN Plus and CEBL Plus, powered by TonyBet.
At Century Casino, the action never stops. From thrilling slots and table games to live horse racing. Enjoy delicious dining options and exceptional live entertainment. Plus, unwind in the boutique hotel. Century Casino. Welcome to the Winner's Zone.
Get started with a $100 bonus. Download the Play Alberta app today.
At Cal Tire, we're here to drive the best value around with free rotations, price match, 0% financing, and free flat repairs. We take care of it all for the life of your tires. Chat with our team at caltire.com.
Welcome back inside the Expo Center Arena. Doug McLean, Paul, Sarah Ryan on the call. Stingers up 42-36 with 3:11 to go in the second quarter. Get cash back on Stingers ticket purchases at cebl.ca/Neo when using your Neo credit card. Sign up now and receive a $25 bonus.
Nice stretch by the Stingers. They've had a nice surge. I mean, you went with Groom, I'll go with Surge. Yeah, okay. Mid-season form. That's right. But they've had a nice stretch here at both ends of the court. They've disrupted Calgary, and they've been able to go down and score.
Brown goes around Lindsay, and the help from Sabri Phillip, who will pick up the foul. And Brown looks to be okay as he hit the deck hard. I see the help come over from Phillip. Sabri Phillip, Edmonton native. His first pro experience here as well, and a kid that you've been watching for a long time.
Long time. I've known Sabri since he's a very young player. Outstanding high school player in Edmonton. Had a really rough journey through Division I basketball, junior college basketball due to injuries. So we're real excited to see Sabri get an opportunity to play for the Stingers and hopefully get a good foothold in a pro career, because Sabri, he's A, a great kid, but B, he has all the ability that he needs to be a real good basketball player. So hopefully this will help him on that pathway.
Wrapped up his NCAA career at Stony Brook. Previously he was with San Diego. Also spent some time in the junior college system in the U.S. at Navarro. Second one won't go. A little strong for Greg Brown. Here is Scotty Lindsay. Loses it.
Well, I'll tell you what, Calgary guards hard, and you have to be keeping your handle tight because they are looking for opportunities to disrupt your dribble. They've made several deflections on the dribble, on the person handling the ball. So this is a good game one lesson for the Stingers to learn. Take care of the basketball.
You saw Greg Brown there sort of just kind of flexing that right elbow a little bit. Keep an eye on that after that.
He took a tough fall. Yeah, that was a hard fall.
Now Brown on Lindsay again. East with 6 on the shot clock. Sean East, little runner from just outside the free throw line. Nice touch there by Sean East.
And so under control. Again, like we were talking about Nelson Jr., East is the same. Change of pace, change of direction. Good deflections.
Yankovic back in the game for Calgary. Ball deflected away by Bandu. Thomas kicks it off. Great look to Greg Brown late, as Thomas was already in the air and found his teammate for the finish.
Stingers have a 6-point lead, playing real steady basketball so far through the second quarter, Doug.
10 to go on the shot clock. Lindsay with Brown guarding him. Screen from Shitu goes to his left. Pull up. Shot disrupted there by Brown, and now Miller Moore hurries up the floor for Calgary. Jankovic nearly lost it. Corrals it to Nelson. Nelson Jr. 3.
Under
Drops.
control, huge composure, very, very nice stroke. Jameer Nelson Jr. is a very good basketball player. Nice to see him in the CEBL.
Sean East led Missouri in scoring back in 2024. And again under control, but that one a little bit short for East. And up the floor now, Nelson Jr. Probes the lane, kicks it out. Thomas for 3, short, but he'll get his own rebound. And then a good cut inside by Brown. Left-hand finish. Timeout called by Jordan Baker.
50-50 balls are a problem for the Stingers with this lineup right now. They've gotten beat, I think, 3 consecutive times when they've had a chance to garner the rebound. They haven't found a way to get it. Calgary's length and athleticism right now is winning.
And it's been a game here in the last 5 minutes of runs each way. I mean, Calgary had a run, Edmonton built the lead back up. Calgary another run here to get within 1. Now Edmonton with just over a minute to go here in the second, trying to stem that. And that was a challenge for them last year. They could do it to a degree at the defensive end, but as we're seeing here early, they might have the offensive players to stem runs a little differently than they might have in the past.
You're right, and I would equate. I guess what I would put this in the category of, Doug, because that was a game 1 stretch. You have players on the court, a couple inexperienced players. They really don't know the pace and speed and intensity firsthand that you have to bring on every play. You have to own every ball that you have an opportunity to. You can't get beat on 50-50 balls. I'm sure that's what Coach Baker is talking about right now. It's not the rebound off the rim, it's the long rebound that they're getting beat on. So they have to correct that right now. And the young guys have to be ready. It's next man up. You've got players not here yet. You've got your opportunity right now to show what you can do. And that's one of the things that you need to do, is you need to get the basketball if it's out there and it's up for grabs.
Both teams shooting the ball fairly well. Stingers 46% from the field, Calgary 48%. Edmonton with the edge from the 3-point line, 38%, 5 of 13. Surge, 3 of 13. And rebounds, you were just talking about, 21-17 right now, favoring Edmonton. Both teams have cleaned up the turnovers. Just 1 committed by Edmonton here in this second quarter, and 2 by Calgary. Phillip remains in the game for Edmonton. Gets it to Shitu. Lindsay for 3. Off the right side of the rim, and rebound for Jankovic.
A little bit of an uncertain possession there. The ball stopped a few times. Again, I equate that with game 1 nerves and young players just getting ready, just getting their first feel for the game.
And Scotty Lindsay will pick up the foul, and that's going to send Jameer Nelson Jr. to the line as the Stingers now in the penalty. Coming up at the half, we'll have a sit-down conversation with Commissioner Mike Morreale. Sarah will interview new Surge head coach Kayla Canales. We'll break down the stats from the first half and revisit Paul's players to watch, presented by Tony Bet.
Again, low foul count for both teams, really. Stingers 5 fouls, sending Calgary to the line with 26.7 seconds to go in the first half. Calgary only being called for 1 foul thus far in the second quarter. Coaches hate that. Especially, well, certainly the coach who has 5 fouls against him and only 1 foul for the opponent.
More so that coach. The other coach isn't worrying about fouls.
It's just fine. We're just playing great defense.
That's right. Jameer Nelson remains perfect at the free throw line, 6 of 6 so far here in this game, as the Surge have taken a 1-point lead with a 2.5 differential shot clock and game clock. Phillip to East, guarded by Nelson, to his left. Just outside the elbow, that jumper won't drop. And now Greg Brown quickly pushes it up the floor. Off balance, tried to draw the foul on East. That ball will end up out of bounds. 0.6 to go as Edmonton will inbound from their own baseline.
That was a strong attempt to try to make the ref buy into a foul being committed.
Phillip from half court won't go. And that is where things will wrap up here at halftime with the Calgary Surge pushing late to head into halftime with a 45-44 lead.
Good first half of game one.
We're going to get our halftime interview here momentarily with Sarah Ryan as she is set here now with Sean East II. And we'll head now to Sarah with Sean East.
Okay, Sean, big half for the Stingers. Your first half with the Stingers, you had a lot of great defensive rebounds, some excellent passes, you were netting a lot of points. What do you think about that first half performance with your new team?
You mentioned a lot of offensive, but we need to buckle down on the defensive end so we can get some stops and capitalize on the other end, stop them from scoring.
Absolutely. You put up big numbers when you played in Romania, averaging more than 25 points a game and putting in a lot of minutes. How do you try to get that to translate into the CEBL?
Just a game at a time, a quarter at a time. It might not be the same role, but whatever my job calls for on any given night, I'm going to try to do that.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Sean. Back to you, Doug, Paul.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Sean. That interview presented by our official sideline partner, Russell Athletic. We're gonna step out 45-44, the Calgary Surge up on the Edmonton Stingers here in the opening game of the 2025 CEBL season. You're watching CEBL basketball live on Game Plus, TSN Plus, and CEBL Plus, powered by Tony Bet.
Now, as we enter season 7, obviously a lot of new bells and whistles to look forward to, like the CEBL Summer Classic. We got the Red Deer game, Battle of Alberta. Is there anything about this particular season that you're looking forward to?
I love that we continue to spread our wings. We sold 2 teams. We've got maybe a third on the way to private ownership. That's a big deal for us because if you understand our history, we built this league in a way that we were going to build it in the Field of Dreams moment. If you build it, they will come. And, getting them here is just as hard as building the whole infrastructure. So, that success allows us to bring on individual owners and individual markets that can really invest in those communities. And we've seen the results, primarily out west, because that's kind of where we started. So that's exciting to me, is that year-over-year growth of what we're doing, the ability for us to attract high level talent, to expand our game into neutral sites, whether it be IGA Stadium in Montreal for the outdoor game, or whether it's in Red Deer, and in future years it'll likely go other places. I think this just speaks to the growth of the game of basketball, not just the CEBL, but we're happy to carry the torch.
Story time. Okay, so I'm sitting at home. My CEBL mobile app goes off, and I find out about the Summer Classic. Of course, I get a message right after that from my wife saying, hey, we're free that weekend. I'm going to look at flights. Talk about the level of excitement that you've been hearing about. I mean, we saw it on every news media outlet, right? The excitement is across the nation. Talk about the seeds, was it a phone call from Montreal? Is it something you brought to them? How did this idea come to fruition?
We've always been a disruptor league. We always look to do things differently. And we've always kind of tried to extend the limits of what we can do, or be different and be proud of it. So this opportunity was filtering up, bubbling up for many years. But once we made that sale of the Montreal franchise to a local ownership group who have feet on the ground and are well respected, of course, led by Joel Anthony and the rest, it just became more of a reality. And they jumped completely into the concept and idea and ran with it. And it's going to be something really special. It's never been done before. We're really proud of doing things that haven't been done before. No different than playing the neutral site game in Red Deer. Jason in Calgary came to us with that idea. We run with those things. We trust our people on the ground. We trust that they understand their communities. And we also believe that the more basketball we play in more places, the better it is for the whole basketball ecosystem.
Is there anything that you can tease us about, whether it's this season, seasons to come, that CEBL fans can get excited about?
Well, I will say this will be the biggest and best championship weekend we've ever done. And it may be the last one. We could look at morphing into maybe a more traditional playoff structure. It's been a great event for us. It's an amazing event, not just on the court, but off the court and the festival component. So if you follow the bouncing ball, so to speak, you can see us revision that and look at different ways to provide, the teams what they want, but the league what we need, and the fan base to be able to do different things. So that's exciting for me. I think you'll see perhaps another team sold before the season, which of course is another really good feather in our cap. And then you'll just see increased relationships with international clubs and increased relationships with key people in the basketball community globally. That's what we continue to do. I receive phone calls weekly of people that look to us for advice, and they've been in existence for 40 years, working in certain leagues. So that shared relationship, that finally going into 7 years, which is crazy, we're going into 7 years, there's been a lot of learnings, a lot of opportunities, and we're catching a little bit of fire here.
There is a buzz not only in this building, but in this community. The basketball field in this part of the province is something extra special.
The Battle of Alberta, not on ice, not on the field, but on the hardwood tonight.
A rivalry almost as old as time itself. Calgary and Edmonton.
At Cal Tire, we know winter can be tough on your car. So springtime is alignment time. Saving you fuel, saving your tires. With precise alignments. Learn more at caltire.com.
Sarah Ryan, Doug McLean, and Paul Sir back with you inside the Expo Center Arena at halftime here. The Calgary Surge leading the Edmonton Stingers 45-44. And we'll take a look at some of the highlights from the opening half. And Paul, it was a really entertaining first half of basketball. Again, considering everything, teams coming together in the last week, but it was pretty high execution, lots of athleticism, which is exactly what we expected out of these two teams.
Well, it was, but what impressed me the most, and we touched on it a couple of times, Doug, was how under control the players were, given that it's game one. And what I read into this is when you've got a player like on Calgary, for instance, as your point guard, like Jameer Nelson Jr., he really knows how to play the game. Change the pace, change the direction, penetrate, kick, find his teammates, get to the rack. Stingers did a nice job also of moving the basketball and starting to find each other. They had a real nice rhythm going about halfway through the second quarter. Then they fell off a bit, and Calgary, to their namesake, had a surge as well to end the quarter off and to go up by a point.
Yeah, and some good performances. You get to take a look at that. That was a heck of a play,
great
which we've
finish.
come to expect from Muggsy Miller-Moore, two-time member of the All-Canadian team in the CEBL. But again, the young Canadians for Edmonton, Aaron Rooms, Tay Donald coming up big in that opening half.
They had to come up big because they had to play a lot of minutes. And to see that the growth of Donald, to see the growth of Rooms, be able to come in and contribute on both ends of the court, wonderful start for them to contribute this season.
Take a look at some of the stats from the opening 20 minutes of play. Both teams shooting fairly well. The Stingers actually, late in that second quarter, the shooting started to drop off a little bit for them. Stingers shooting the ball a little bit better from long range, but look at the number of trips to the line for Calgary in that opening half.
And that's a key point to keep in mind. If that going into the second half, the Stingers, things they can do right now, even in game one, they can attack the rim more aggressively. They're looking for jump shots. They're looking for pull-ups. They're looking for non-contact shots. They have to be more aggressive going to the rim like Calgary has been. They have gone to the rim hard, and they've been rewarded for it at the free throw stripe. So the Stingers have to do more of that. I think as it works with assists, the Stingers have moved the ball well. They've shared the ball really well. They've hit a lot of open shots, but they've left a lot short. And again, I go back to my comment about looking for opportunities to attack the rim and draw contact.
45-44, the Surge up on the Stingers. We're going to step out. We'll come back and set you up for second half action. You're watching CEBL Basketball live on Game Plus, TSN Plus, and CEBL Plus, powered by TonyBet.
Every jump, every pivot, every heartbeat on the court, precision matters. Mayfair Diagnostics is proud to be the official medical imaging provider of the Calgary Surge. Mayfair provides a variety of medical imaging services, including MRI, ultrasound, X-ray, and numerous other services. With 15 locations in Calgary and area, Mayfair brings the clarity when it counts. Because when the pressure is on, performance starts with precision.
We're more than a car dealership. We're part of something bigger. We're part of this city. Go Nissan is proud to fuel the fans, the families, and the fierce energy that makes Edmonton go. With 3 local dealerships, we're here to keep the city moving. Go Stingers, go Nissan.
Hey guys, what can I get started for you today?
Bananas away, regular?
And I'll have the Rip Berry, but can I get vanilla oat milk? And I'll add spinach and ginger. And can I substitute the raspberries for strawberries? Also add the chia and hemp seed, and definitely have the power booster and the collagen booster. And can I get that blended twice?
Wow.
For Alicia, Custom Chaos? One of a kind.
You're one of a kind.
Booster juice, freshly made, your way.
We've made a commitment to championship weekend again in 2025 in Winnipeg. I think you'll see the biggest and best championship weekend to date.
What keeps me going? Under the heat of the sun, or in the heat of the moment. When climbing for even one more second seems like too much. Whether you're reaching for your goal or busy setting new ones, everyone hits their limit, but that limit has a reset. Scientifically formulated to hydrate faster in the moments that matter. Electrolyte, instant hydration.
Welcome back inside the Expo Center Arena. Stingers trailing the Calgary Surge 45-44. As we get set for a second half action, but first let's go to our Sarah Ryan with Calgary Surge head coach Caleb Canales.
All right, Coach Caleb, you signed with the Calgary Surge earlier this year, and you bring a wealth of experience from the NBA G League, Texas Legends. How do you hope working with those players with that level of experience will translate here into the Surge locker room?
Well, we got a great group. You know, as you guys saw, you know, we're trying to compete at a high level on both ends. We know Edmonton's a good team, so it's a tight game right now. We're just looking to establish our championship habits, and I thought we battled through a lot of things there.
Absolutely. I heard you in one of the timeouts talking about your size differential and how you really have the height advantage. How can you utilize that here in the second half? Is it just crashing the boards hard?
Well, we have to start because I don't think we've started yet. Like you mentioned, we got to do a better job of 3, 4, 5 crashing the glass and making them pay for their small ball lineup.
All right, well, it's definitely a close game, Coach. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. We'll throw it back to you. Doug, Paul?
Thanks.
Awesome, thanks, Sarah and Coach Canales. And Paul, let's go back and look at your players to watch, presented by TonyBet. And what did you see from those two guys in the opening half?
Well, in a way, it's somewhat what I expected to see from both of them. They both do a lot of different things. 7 points for Sean Miller-Moore. You know, he had a couple of very nice finishes around the basket. Nick got in some foul trouble early, so that took him out of the flow. But took a charge, probably had another charge that wasn't called, but helping in all positions. So looking for Nick to get back in and to show his leadership characteristics and qualities in the second half.
1 point Surge lead, and again we'll take a look now at the path to the playoffs, brought to you by Lotto Max. Let's take a look at the playoffs last year. As these two teams did face off, we talked about that the last couple seasons. It's been the Surge that have knocked out the Stingers. As these two teams did face off here at Expo Center in the Western Conference Semi, and the path to the playoffs, as mentioned, presented by Lotto Max. Of course, the Niagara River Lions come away last season winning the CEBL title, and it was a pretty interesting play if you think about it for the River Lions coming through the playoffs, winning 3 games by a combined total of 8 points to ultimately win. It shows us how tight this league was last year, and I think we expect, as we see here in this first half, we expect it to be this season.
I think you're right, Doug, and I think the goal always in the sports league is parity. You don't know who's going to win when you step into a game, and you don't want to have teams with a great disparity in talent. Certainly in this first half, what we're seeing from both teams is a lot of similar talent levels, different skills that they bring to the game, play somewhat differently. But boy, these guys are out there competing in game 1. They're looking for ways to build their chemistry in game 1, hitting some good shots, missing some that they probably want back. Calgary is going to try to use their length in the second half, as Coach Canales said at his halftime interview with Sarah. And the Stingers are going to look to push the ball and use some of their early entry 3-point shooting capacities as well.
Now take a look and keep an eye as well on Keon Ambrose Hilton. He did just, yeah.
It was an awkward fall.
Landed awkwardly when he came down on that left knee, and he's really, really important right now for the Stingers roster because of the size that he brings. It's a little bit of a, if there's one element lacking right now in terms of depth, currently for the Stingers, it might be that in terms of size at the 5.
Absolutely, and he's coming back on the court right now. Ambrose Hilton is back. He does have a little bit of a limp, I believe. But the fact that he's been cleared by the trainers and he wants to be out there, that bodes well. That bodes well for the Stingers. We'll see if he can go and go at full speed. Stingers need that length. He changed some shots early. They need that kind of presence in the paint.
And we're back underway, second half action. Hornsby, Sean East, the second, Scotty Lindsay, the aforementioned Ambrose Hilton and Devontae Bandu in the game for Edmonton. Lindsay with another 3.
Great find. Again, when you look at a point guard, it's not just his ability to, almost a steal, not just his ability to make the pass, but to make the pass on time, on hands, at the right speed. He did that as well, and Scotty Lindsay was up to taking the shot and knocking it down.
Miller Moore, Osaboyan, Nelson Jr., Thomas, and Greg Brown in the game to start the second half for Calgary. Osaboyan working on Nick Hornsby. Good job defensively there by the Stinger veteran.
Absolutely, and I've been impressed in the first couple of sequences with Ambrose Hilton and his ability to move laterally.
East gets cut off. Nick Hornsby for 3. And poked out of bounds by Scotty Lindsay. Hornsby last season, 40% 3-point shooter. Doesn't shoot them a ton, but can knock them down. Led this team in minutes played a year ago, just under 29, and expect to see his minutes maybe be not quite at that level this year, but again, he'll be one of the leaders in terms of minutes played for Jordan Baker.
Absolutely. And Hornsby, when he's open, isn't afraid to take the 3. He has to, in fact.
Nelson Jr. kicks it over to his left. Miller Moore short on that 3, and that ball will go out of bounds off of Osaboyan.
Osaboyan is very active, taking Coach Canales' charge to go to the offensive boards hard. He's doing that every time down the court.
Backdoor cut by Bandu, but a nice play there by Thomas to read it. Miller Moore up the floor. Good job in transition by the Calgary Surge. East, quick look at a 3. That one might have gone off the hand of Thomas.
I think they missed one there.
Yeah, I think.
Ball changed trajectory as it came down.
And
Coach Baker has a coach's challenge. That's a good challenge, I believe.
We're going to take a look at this, because great close out there by Kyrie Thomas.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a quick trigger by East, definitely on that one. You can get a better shot than that, but he's an aggressive offensive player. He's always looking to score, so you don't want to discourage it, but maybe next time a second pass would have been in, or a pass would have been in order.
So Edmonton challenging that it should be their basketball as it touched Calgary last. The officials will go and take a look and see if Jordan Baker's hunch is correct.
When you look at the first half stats, Sean East and Scotty Lindsay both had 11 points for the Stingers. Lindsay already has a 3 in the second quarter, and then 15 for Jameer Nelson Jr. and 10 for Osaboyan. Very effective. Nelson Jr. I think was just outstanding in the first half.
In his last season at TCU, averaged just over 11 points a game, just under 3 helpers a game. He was 4th though in the Big 12 and with 2 steals a game. And so again, a really well-rounded player, and it's quite remarkable to watch how he plays and just how similar he is in terms of style to his dad.
First game, the pace has not been frantic. I've appreciated that. Both teams are playing hard but under control. He seems to be that kind of under control point guard, as does East. These guys definitely have that pro level experience where they know when to go hard, when to pull back, and when to look for their teammates. So really going to be an exciting season. You know, you try to project down the road as teams add players, as teams gain more chemistry and experience. So like we've been talking about, Doug, throughout the broadcast in game 1. That's hard to find, but both teams really seem to be willing to look for each other in order to get the best shot for the squad.
And as someone yourself that's coached at a high level for a long time, how tough is that with about a little over a week training camp to try to get as much as you can set up and in place to play a game like this today?
Well, it is really tough, especially if you're looking at detail management. Like, you try to get a basic system in, some basic actions, but then you rely on the players to be able to execute and to be able to rely on the skills that they've developed over their careers. So the Surge it was deemed that it was not touched. So Surge basketball. I guess I have to go call my optometrist tomorrow. That's why I'm not an official.
When you're certainly seeing how good a defensive player Kyrie Thomas is, I mean, just again a really good close to contest that shot from East, who looked like he had a lot of room to get it off.
Absolutely.
Brown loses footing a little bit, but maintains the pivot foot. Nelson hard past the opposite side of the floor. Miller Moore, shot won't go. Rebound for Scotty Lindsay. Layup at the other end for Ambrose Hilton.
Ambrose Hilton putting our fears to bed by his running the court that way. Good heads-up play and pass by Scotty Lindsay.
Nelson working on Sean East. Off-balance shot. Doesn't touch the rim. Thought he got bumped. Back up the floor is Devontae Bandu. Bandu behind the back. Little runner in the lane with 2 players on him. Pretty nice touch for Devontae Bandu.
We've been looking for that for Bandu to be able to create his own shot. He did it there. Beautiful, savvy play.
Saboyan to Brown. Hard on the floor. A little bit off balance. That shot actually hits the underside of the backboard, and Edmonton will come back up the floor with numbers. Hornsby fake to the corner as Miller Moore closed hard, recognizing Lindsay, the shooter out there. But a good fake by Hornsby, and he finished with the runner.
That's what Nick does. He does little things in a really special way. Nice take.
Here's Ambrose Hilton just a little bit early. Whoa, right into your living room, or maybe you're sitting on the patio outside watching. Jameer Nelson working hard back to the basketball.
Shout out to Jason Nelson, who took the blow from Jameer Nelson. Yes. No relation. I just can't say enough about the work that the work-happy people do in producing this show, bringing this to our spectators. They do such a great job. They're just pros at the highest level.
Absolutely, can't agree more. You just know walking in, you and I aren't worried because we know things are all going to be ready to go, set up, and it's just, yeah, it makes our jobs easy. And of course, all the staff at the CEBL as well who help us throughout the season. Ambrose Hilton working, kicks it over, and Nick Hornsby was basically out of bounds when that ball came to him. And Hornsby and Nelson Jr. having a bit of a laugh. Of course, you had a good chat with Nick Hornsby a couple weeks ago on
the basketball show.
Your show here in town.
Yep. No, Nick. Bringing that kind of experience, bringing his family up here to Edmonton again, third year, as we've talked about being back here. That kind of maturity and experience for a young team is invaluable. Good defense, forcing a turnover. Ambrose Hilton, the way he moves his feet for a big guy is really impressive. Very agile, great lateral movement, so he can not only change shots going to the rim, but he can stand his man up on defense as he just did that right there.
Nice feed over to Scotty Lindsay, who finishes the job with another three. But what a pass by Nick Hornsby. Bounce pass through the top of the lane. And off balance, out of bounds. I know it's only game one, Paul, but championship weekend is coming. It's coming to Winnipeg this year. Don't miss your opportunity to be part of the biggest event of the summer. Single game and event packs are on sale now.
And Winnipeg will do a great job. They have a remarkable franchise. The way the community's embraced the team has been so impressive. In my mind, they're only second to Edmonton.
Great sports city in Winnipeg. They support
they are.
Everything from the Jets to the Blue Bombers to the Gold Eyes. They've done a great job. The Sea Bears, of course.
100%. Fantastic sports city.
Ball out of bounds off of Edmonton. Miller Moore now quickly up the floor to Brown. Cuts in and around Bandu. Rebound Calgary. That was Nelson Jr. has his shot contested, and now Sean East left alone. Short, good rebound there by Thomas.
Again, I like the fact that was a good shot. Sean should take that shot.
And Brown has the ball nearly stripped away, but it's going to be a foul. This is going to go, I believe, on Sean East the second. Get the call from Perry Stott there here in a second. Yep, it is East. And that's a tough matchup for East inside. Some help coming from Lindsay, but there's that foul with the left-hand swipe.
Sean really is frustrated that he missed that last shot because it was a wide open look, a shot he expects to make, and he will be making more than he misses through the course of the season. I'm really excited, like I've talked about, particularly in the first quarter, Doug, to see the Stingers have the kind of shooters that they've recruited in Bandu, in Scotty Lindsay, in Sean East. These guys really can stroke the ball, and I mean at a high level. Not what you look for in shooters is when you expect every shot to go in. With those three players, you feel there's a good chance that the shot's going to go in.
Aaron Rooms checks back in for Edmonton. Ball off of Ambrose Hilton, so Calgary inbound. Jankovic guarded by Ambrose Hilton. Bodies his way in. Good job defensively there by Ambrose Hilton. Battle on the boards, and Edmonton, two players on it, Hornsby and Rooms, and Sean East will come up with it. Hornsby leaves it for Aaron Rooms. Three won't drop. And Thomas up the floor. And it's going to be out of bounds first off of Greg Brown, they're going to save.
It went off Nick, then it went off Brown. Caught the tip of his shoe, went out of bounds. So Brown's a bit frustrated right now. He's working extremely hard on the glass on both ends. So he's a bit frustrated by that play to work that hard and lose the ball out of bounds.
56-49, the Stingers leading the Calgary Surge with 4:53 to go here at the Expo Center Arena. We will step aside. You're watching CEBL basketball live on Game Plus, TSN Plus, and CEBL Plus, powered by Tony Bennett.
Fasten your seatbelt tonight. We're going to have some high energy and some high flying stuff.
All the drama, all the excitement, all the fun. Pull up to a CEBL game this summer. Get your tickets now at CEBL.ca or on the CEBL mobile app. And hey, get 15% cash back when you pay with your NEO credit card when buying tickets at CEBL.ca/NEO.
There is a buzz not only in this building, but in this community. The basketball field in this part of the province is something extra special.
In the Battle of Alberta, not on ice, not on the field, but on the hardwood tonight.
A rivalry almost as old as time itself. Calgary and Edmonton.
Every jump, every pivot, every heartbeat on the court, precision matters. Mayfair Diagnostics is proud to be the official medical imaging provider of the Calgary Surge. Mayfair provides a variety of medical imaging services, including MRI, ultrasound, X-ray, and numerous other services. With 15 locations in Calgary and area, Mayfair brings the clarity when it counts. Because when the pressure is on, performance starts with precision.
Seven-point lead for the Edmonton Stingers. And Sarah, you were listening in on Jordan Baker in the huddle during that timeout.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been talking about the height difference, but Coach Baker says he's proud of his team's defensive rebounding. He's just really encouraging them when they do get possession of the ball to push it up the court, and go for that fast transition, at least in getting the ball into the Surge's end.
Right now, 29 to 20, the rebounds, or sorry, take a look at the foul here. The rebounding right now, 29-27 in favor of Edmonton. So despite the size and length that Calgary brings, Edmonton doing a good, really battling on the boards here through nearly 3/4 of play.
They have. They've rebounded well, and I think Coach Baker's right on the mark. Push the ball against the Surge. There are early offense opportunities for the Stingers. That was an interesting foul. East was going up the court looking to draw contact from Nelson Jr., but he did lower his shoulder and go into Nelson Jr., which ended up, I think, with the correct call by the officials.
Mane to the elbow to Miller Moore. That's going to be a travel. Didn't put the ball down. Put the step first. Edmonton ball. Hornsby to inbound.
We'll see if they can get a good offensive possession in their half-court set now.
Nearly turned over. Bandu will collect it.
And Calgary is very long, very athletic, and looking to extend the defense.
Bandu finds Rooms. Little pull up by Aaron Rooms, who goes right at Miller Moore. We're going to get a timeout on the floor called by Calgary.
Very confident move by Aaron Rooms, and it was interesting seeing him go against the experienced Miller Moore. He did all of that and knocked it down. Nice mid-range pull-up.
Good elevation in the lane.
I'm curious about Coach Canales. I saw him addressing the officials as they were coming off the court. I don't know if there was something in that possession that he objected to, or if he was disappointed in Miller Moore's defense on the play. I'm just not sure, but he was obviously very upset and called a quick timeout.
Largest lead of the game right now for the Stingers as they're up 9 on Calgary, and we continue to see good performances by some of Edmonton's young players. Aaron Rooms, the latest example.
100%, and clearly thus far, 4 minutes, 20 seconds left to go in quarter number 3. The Stingers have been the better team in this quarter. Calgary looks flat right now, and you have to give a lot of credit to the Stingers because they've really tightened up on defense, and offensively they've had a lot of good flow. There's going to be some interesting decisions that both coaches are going to have to make because they have a somewhat limited lineup right now. They're going to have to make decisions on how many young players they put in for how many minutes. Like right now, we're going with 2 young university players on the court. I'll be curious to see in Jordan Baker's rotation if he keeps this mixture on the court.
And you would expect with Coach Canales' team down that timeout would have been about offense. He said to his team, defense, defense, defense. That is their focus right now.
Stingers have mixed, speaking of defense, they've mixed it up coming out in a 2-3 zone where they've been playing man-to-man all night.
Yankovic short on the 3. Rebound for Bandu, who takes an inadvertent shot from Miller Moore, who, good on him, goes right up to Bandu. That was a complete accident, of course, just swiping at the ball. That happens all the time. You can get cash back on Surge ticket purchases at CEBL.ca /Neo when using your Neo credit card. Sign up now and receive a $25 bonus.
Boy, when you look around at a full arena again, what a great way to start the CEBL season. And with the interprovincial rivalry like this is just outstanding.
Ambrose Hilton goes right into the body of Jankovic. Ambrose Hilton, not a big scorer, but looked pretty confident there.
He runs the court well, like he's looking for opportunities. That was very under control. Really got his balance and knocked it in off the glass.
And foul going on Tay Donald. Jameer Nelson might have taken the worst of this as Donald just tries to step up and fight through that screen and just
tried to come over the top of it and caught Nelson Jr. with his elbow coming through. So again, correct call. Just trying to work hard, get over the screen. Wasn't able to do so. Jankovic set a good ball screen.
Nelson Jr. appears to be all right. He will take a seat, however. Miller Moore inbound for Calgary. Screen from Osaboyan. Now Mane, a little runner. Nice touch there for Karim Mane, the native of Saint-Hubert, Quebec.
Nice left to right runner, under control, bottom of the net.
Mane, 10 games in the NBA with the Orlando Magic. Never played college basketball. Was a 5-star recruit, but decided not to go the college route, declared for the NBA draft. Did play CEBL, so the college system in Quebec.
One of the many interesting developments in basketball south of the border is CEBL for decades has always been kind of a mystery from the standpoint of you're playing post-secondary basketball but not losing any eligibility. Now down in the U.S., if you play junior college, you also don't lose eligibility, so you can go on to play 4 years at a university after playing 2 post-secondary years. So that'll be interesting to see if that has any effect on basketball, not just in Quebec, but in Canada in general.
So Boyan hit the first, hit the second. Scotty Lindsay will check in for Edmonton. And Olamide Adeladun, who went to a certain school called Winona State. And I think, Paul, you may have heard of it.
I've heard of that, and I've got to track him down and tell him he's the second best player out of Winona State. So.
Yes, Paul Sir, a legend at Winona State.
In his own mind, for sure.
In a few minds, more than your own. Hornsby guarded closely by
shot clock winding down.
Good job defensively there by Calgary, and Coach Canal is happy now, more so with the defensive effort by his charges here in the last couple minutes.
I've talked a couple of times about the calls that you don't want to see made, and that's one of them, but you also have to be consistent. So I would say there was a lot of contact on Nick Hornsby there. The call wasn't made. Let's just not have the calls for soft contact on on either end of the court. But you want to see players be able to defend aggressively.
There is a
Speaking of which,
that's right. And the putback there by Calgary to get within 5.
Stingers have definitely stagnated on offense.
Nearly turned over. It's going to be a tie-up.
That was a game 1 play.
And here we'll take a look at that play earlier from Hornsby.
Oh my goodness, yes. That was contact. That was a ref being shielded because, like I talk about, not being able to, not being able to play defense aggressively. That was a foul. That was just that happens. It was missed.
Yeah. Now Mane will bring the ball up the floor for the Surge. Trying to continue to chip into this Edmonton lead. Gets a step on room for the left hand. A little strong on the layup. Rebound though for Adeladun. Mane with the offensive rebound. So Calgary now starting to insert itself on the boards. DJ Jackson hasn't seen a lot of time here in this ball game so far, but he will earn himself a trip to the free throw line.
We're going back to what we touched on in the first half, Doug. 50-50 basketballs, rebounds. Calgary right now is, I think, juiced up and being very aggressive for offensive and defensive rebounds and 50-50 balls, and they're beating the Stingers to their spots. And that's something young players really have to be, I think, cognizant of when they come in and they compete at this level. It's one thing to get used to the pace of the professional game and the strength of the players that you're playing against, but you can always put your best effort forward, and you can always try to outwork your opponent to get that 50-50 opportunity.
Ripped away by Jankovic on the miss from DJ Jackson, who spent his first season playing with St. FX this past year after a couple years in the NCAA. Mane's shot won't go. Fouls right now, 16-5. Edmonton, Calgary's only committed 5 fouls here so far in this ballgame. Nice finish there for Nick Hornsby.
I think what Coach Baker is looking for is a flop.
Nice touch for Hornsby as he takes that contact. Well, Saboyan nearly lost it. Hornsby on him. Deladoon for 3 goes. Olamide Deladoon, Calgary native, played at Niagara as well as Winona State and with the Ohio Bobcats. Sean East has his shot blocked. And DJ Jackson doesn't feel there was any contact there.
But it was clearly indicated that the contact wasn't on the ball. It was below the belt. It was the legs got bumped. That's what made the call.
There's Jackson, number 1, just trying to get.
Yes.
Yeah.
Just great call.
Sean East hits the first free throw as Keon Ambrose Hilton ready to check back in for Jordan Baker.
Great to see Ambrose Hilton being able to play in the way he has after he had that awkward fall on his knee in the first half. Great opportunity for him to come in at this juncture, go big to big with Jankovic, and hopefully shore up the defensive rebounding by the Stingers.
Mane explodes, finds Jankovic. Shot won't go with that layup, and Jankovic a little slow to come up. Feed inside, Ambrose Hilton, reverse, nice take there by Keon Ambrose Hilton.
Nice reverse layup. He is very impressive debut for the Stingers.
Stinger lead back up to 8, shot clock is off. Mane will hold for the final shot. Saboyan, guarded by Runes. Picks it out, Mane, long 3, in and out, and almost back in again. And that is how things will end. After 3 quarters of play, the Stingers, it's gone back and forth. The Stingers pull away a little bit there late in the 3rd quarter, and they will head to the break with an 8-point lead, 66-58. We're gearing up for a great 4th quarter. Stingers up on Calgary. You're watching CEBL basketball live on Game Plus, TSN Plus, and CEBL Plus, powered by Tony Bennett.
Get started with a $100 bonus. Download the Play Alberta app today.
We are live from the beautiful city of Montreal. Game of the week featuring the Blackjacks from Ottawa taking on the Alliance from Montreal. And we're going to have such a great time tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Why? The tension is party here in Montreal. You talk about adrenaline and emotions, and the heart is just pounding. It's enough. Quick 3.
At Cal Tire, we're here to drive the best value around with free rotations, price match, 0% financing, and free flat repairs. We take care of it all for the life of your tires. Chat with our team at caltire.com.
Next bucket wins. Target score time is the best time of a game. The energy, the drama,
that anything can happen.
Big players step up in big time.
He is cooking.
Justin Wright Foreman, top side for the win.
Good. Get out the salami and cheese, mama. Onions, baby onions.
Welcome back to the Edmonton Stingers versus Calgary Surge. Now, with so many new faces on the bench for the Edmonton Stingers, one of the players who is being asked to step up is Aaron Rooms. Now, Rooms was on the bench for the Stingers last year, but he only averaged about 4.5 minutes in the 11 games that he played. That is very different at this point already this game. He, in this home opener, has already played more than 14 minutes, and he's got the golden kicks on his feet to prove it. He's already put up 7 points and 4 rebounds, and the Stingers need more of that if they expect to do well throughout this season. Over to you, Doug, Paul.
Heads up play by East, stealing the ball on the rebound and putting it back in on a miss.
Last year, we've talked about defense a lot here tonight. Last season, these were the top 2 teams in turnovers forced in the CBL. Edmonton 17.3 a game, Calgary 16.4. So certainly a mentality with these 2 teams in terms of playing well defensively and the kind of play you just saw there from Sean East.
Absolutely, and now you have a university and youth sports player stepping in, taking a charge, forcing the turnover on Calgary. Another offensive opportunity, 10-point lead, first double-digit lead of the day, Doug, for the Stingers. And they clearly have been the team that has been most dominant in the second half.
A little strong on that 3 after the skip pass. Lindsay shot the ball very well tonight. Missed that one. Lindsay 5 of 10 from the 3-point line as Calgary with the 3 get back to it in 7. Here's Hornsby. East guarded by Mane. Ambrose Hilton going right at Brown. Nearly has it stripped away. Kay Donald. Look inside. Ambrose Hilton tried the reverse again, but got no rim. And now Greg Brown up the floor for Calgary. Oh, nice finish there by Greg Brown.
Nice finish by Greg Brown. He recognized the size mismatch right away. Went right to the basket on Donald and finished around the rim. So going from a 10-point lead, now we're down to 5. That's how fast this changes.
And it's been a game of runs like that all game long. Edmonton's been able to build these 7, 8, most recently 10-point leads. But they have not been able to really build on them. Just had a delayed game warning we should mention on Calgary with Brown putting the ball on the floor. Now hold here on the Surge.
Great action by the Stingers to get their shooter. I mean, Scotty Lindsay's been a shooter all night, but he just made a nice shuffle cut, went to the rim, got fouled on the cut by the Surge.
Donald hits the deck. DJ Jackson up the floor. Adela do nice behind the back pass to Karim Mane. Great job on the break by Calgary.
3-point, 10-3. And this is, again, game 1 stuff, but it's also experience-based stuff. They got to keep the ball in the hands of the most experienced players.
Lindsay, runner. Nice touch again, but that one won't drop. Here's Thomas with a chance to possibly tie 8-0 run by, or sorry, 7-0 run, I should say, by Calgary. Thomas guarded well by Hornsby.
Very, very savvy pro move by Thomas. Tremendous footwork. Pivot, reverse pivot. Nothing but the bottom of the net. Great run by the Surge.
Next games coming up, the Surge will head to Ontario to take on the defending champion Niagara River Lions for a Friday night feature. Tip-off from the Garden City at 7 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Mountain. And the Edmonton Stingers, they'll travel to the Canada Life Centre in Winnipeg to take on the Sea Bears in front of what we certainly expect will be a sellout crowd for their home opener. Tip-off at 7:30 Central and 6:30 Mountain. At Canada Life Centre, a busy place. Of course, the Winnipeg Jets still alive in the NHL playoffs. Sea Bears season starting, so that's a hopping place in downtown Winnipeg.
It is a hopping place, and with Winnipeg hosting this year in the CEBL finals, they're going to be putting even more of an effort than they put in over the first season when they were first couple of seasons when they've been part of the CEBL, to draw these huge crowds that they've been so successful in pulling together. Like you mentioned in our comments, Winnipeg is a fantastic sports city. Their people get out, they support it, they get after it. They get after it. So we're going to take a look at Thomas's move. You look at it, penetration against a very good defender. Fake, fade away, bottom of the net, beautiful shot.
Another player with NBA experience, 39 games over 3 years, 34 with the Pistons, 5 with the Rockets. And in those 5 games, the Rockets back in 2021 averaged 30 minutes a game, 16 points a game, and 5 assists. So
that's impressive.
Player that put up some numbers in a short run, but pretty impressive one for him with the Rockets. Tay Donald with the foul.
Nice back cut on the part of Donald to get in position. Good pass inside. Draws the foul. He's going to shoot 2.
Tay Donald at the line. I think we're trying to get Sarah. Mike's not going right now, but we'll get that sorted out here in a sec. Tay Donald hits the first free throw.
Stingers were on a real roll. That's the first point in quite a while for them. So hopefully that'll take the lid off for the Stingers and they can get back into an offensive flow. But first of all, you got to defend. So Stingers have to be more aggressive and active on the defensive end.
Guarded by the aforementioned Donald. Thomas. 2 long players here. Ambrose Hilton. Brown goes right around Ambrose Hilton with the flush.
Tremendous move by Brown. One of the things I like about Brown's game is his level of compete. He competes on every possession, offense or defense, rebounding, attacking the basket, always going at 100%.
Lindsay turns the ball over and Mane up the floor. He turns it over. Hornsby split between a couple of Calgary defenders.
Got numbers.
Donald finds Hornsby.
Calgary did a good job of stopping the fast break because it was 4-on-2.
East with the screen from Ambrose Hilton. Hornsby for 3. Short rebound, Edmonton. And the foul as Keon Ambrose Hilton with the offensive board.
Sorry about that, guys. We had Coach Baker there in the timeout just talking about how important each possession is. He said it's quality possession every single time. And he was talking about really, he feels his team is coming too high offensively. He wants to see them down in the paint, get the ball in deep.
Now at the line, Keon Ambrose Hilton.
That's actually an interesting point because as the quarter went on, that's a good observation because the play got further and further from the basket. You always have to give credit where credit's due. That's partially Calgary's playing good defense, but it's also the Stingers not holding their man off, not coming to the ball as hard and establishing position. So good advice from Coach Baker.
Ambrose Hilton hits both free throws. 3 years at SMU, 2 years at Alabama. His coach at SMU, Rob Lanier, talked about his relentless motor. Well, if I've ever heard the description of a Jordan Baker kind of player, it would be that. Because Jordan Baker certainly had a relentless motor, so no surprise he's bringing in players that'll do the same thing. Foul here on Nick Hornsby.
One of the things we were talking about in one of the breaks, Doug, was the foul discrepancy between the Stingers and the Surge. But I think there is an example of why there is a foul discrepancy and the free throw discrepancy. Calgary just, quite frankly, has attacked the basket harder than the Stingers have.
I agree with you, 100%.
And they're getting rewarded for it, as they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Second one missed there by DJ Jackson, the Atlantic University Sport MVP this past season. New Sports first team All-Canadian. Sean East has the ball stripped away, and it will go out of bounds off of Calgary, but we have a bit of a conversation. It's going to be overturned. It will be,
might have been
Surge ball. So Calgary ball, 5:44 to go. Stingers holding on to a 1-point lead. 12-3 run for the Surge after the Stingers have built up a 10-point advantage. Brown on the floor, and another dunk. And he hangs on the rim, just making sure that Ambrose Hilton got out of the way, and those two will...
Brown has done a phenomenal job of blowing by, quite honestly, Ambrose Hilton. I was commenting on Ambrose Hilton's lateral motion, which is very good for a big guy. But Brown, very quick to the basket and has an excellent, not just first step, but second step in his attack, ending up with 2 big dunks, putting Calgary ahead by 1.
Ball turned over there by Edmonton. 2-on-1. Miller Moore to Thomas, and that's going to be a travel. As that ball got a little bit ahead of him, tried to gather himself, and just the feet were going a little faster than everything else.
Jimmy Nelson Jr. took a bad fall in the last play. He got up a little slowly, stretching himself out right now. But too tough of a player not to be out there competing again. Stingers really need a good set this possession.
Sean East, guarded by Nelson. Pull up, and as East has done throughout this game, just that great touch, and again, gets Nelson on his back a little bit. And that great touch from 10-12 feet, we've seen that a few times.
Yep, he's got that nice teardrop shot. Did a great job of getting his shot. Great defense by Hornsby. Got numbers now.
And the lob, looking for Ambrose Hilton. And again, Jason Nelson takes a hit. Look, the Nelsons are getting, it's been a tough night if your last name is Nelson, apparently. Jameer, right. Jason.
On the court, camera, doesn't matter. If your name's Nelson, you got problems.
Timeout called by Caleb Canales. .435 to go, 1-point Stinger lead.
Can you ask for anything better than this? Game 1, 1 point, 4:35 to go. Fantastic opening night. Now, having said that, there's rust. There are, obviously guys haven't played together. They're not quite sure of who's cutting where, not quite sure of when to pass and when not to pass. But the overall quality of play, Doug, has been very good, and I think sets the tone for what's going to be a fantastic season.
I 100% agree. I think the fact that you're seeing a level of continuity that you wouldn't necessarily expect, as we talked about before, with everything that goes on, players coming in at different points in time from their other seasons. I mean, we're all keeping in mind the fact that these players, for the most part, have played over the winter season. So their rust is probably not the issue in terms of their individual play. Fatigue might be, but again, their ability to jump in and play at such a high level, I think, speaks to the volume of the kind of players that are being brought into this league.
100%. Now, going down the stretch, I'm going to... I would love to see the Stingers run some sort of action to get Scotty Lindsay an open 3. Because in the second half, they've kind of gone away from him. And I don't know if, I'm not exactly sure why, but this is the exact time when he comes back on the court to get he or Bandu or East a wide open shot. So I'm hoping they'll run some action to get Scotty or one of the other great shooters a wide open 3.
Lindsay 5 of 10 from the three-point line. He's got 17 points. Ambrose Hilton, he's got 14 points. 4 of 5 now from the free throw line.
It's great to see, too, because as you pointed out in our pregame remarks, he wasn't a scorer at SMU, but he certainly has offensive skills and, 15 points now. That's a big contribution on opening night.
There's a matchup, a good part of tonight against Greg Brown. Again, as mentioned, his NBA pedigree. And there is Ruxy Miller-Moore Maybe a bit of a quiet night for him, but you can never lose sight of him. Knocks down a huge three.
Absolutely, and he should have been pressured to come off the line. Bad decision, unfortunately, by East on that one. That he should have been looking for an open teammate on the good penetration, but it was just well defended.
Brown, that three a little strong. Hornsby with the rebound. He'll leave it for Bandu. Ball loose. Still on the floor, and Calgary will come up with it. In a scrum in rugby. Good job by Calgary to get that ball loose. And Miller Moore with the layup.
Miller Moore has, like you said, been quiet most of the night, but he's made a lot of noise in the last 2 possessions.
Now under 4 minutes, so target time coming up. Nice cut. Hornsby cuts to the middle. Rooms on that scissor action comes the other way.
Nice back cut by Rooms. Again, heads up, mature play by the man in the golden shoes.
Now sealed off by Brown. Miller Moore. Short. Rebound for Rooms. Oh, good read there by Jackson. Keeps it alive and then turns it over to Sean East. They've got numbers back the other way. Rooms for 3. A little strong. Rebound DJ Jackson. Now Brown. Guarded by Hornsby. Goes into Rooms, and it's going to be a travel. Good step up there by Aaron Rooms. And that is going to lead us into the target time break. We are tied up at 77. It's going to be the first to 86. Come back for the great wrap-up here from Edmonton. You're watching CEBL Basketball live on Game Plus, TSN Plus, and CEBL Plus, powered by TonyBet.
Did you know that every CEBL game ends on a game-winning bucket? Yep, every single one. That's because we use something called target score ending, a thrilling twist that keeps fans locked in till the final shot. So what is the target score ending? Here's how it works. The first time the clock stops with 4 minutes or less left in the fourth quarter, the game clock is turned off. We enter target score time. We take the leading team's score, add 9 points, and that becomes the target score. Let's say it's 91-80. That means the first team to hit 100 wins. No ticking clock, no intentional fouls, just pure clutch basketball. It's fast, it's electric, and it guarantees that every game ends with a bang. Experience the target score ending this CEBL season. And don't forget, you can watch every game-winning bucket live for free on CEBL Plus.
Back inside the Expo Center Arena. 77 all. Great battle here between these provincial rivals. And in target time, first team to 86 will win this lid lifter of the CEBL season.
What a great way to go into target time. Tied at 77. My goodness, this is just shaping up to be such a great opening night. Full house. 2 teams battling it out. Now all comes down to this.
And Sean East II will get things rolling for the Stingers. Stingers led by as much as 10, 68-58. A great push by Calgary here in the fourth. Ambrose Hilton. Shot clock winding down. Bandu, long 3, won't go. Good rebound there by Greg Brown. Miller Moore, guarded by Lindsay. Shamir Nelson. Sean East on him. Nelson inside, tough with the left. Put back, deflected away, and Nick Hornsby will calmly come up with it. And now Sean East comes across the timeline for Edmonton. And it's going to be a foul on Jameer Nelson. And that's going to be a hold. And that will send Sean East line. So a bit of a reversal we've seen.
Absolutely.
Throughout the second and third quarters, very few team fouls for Calgary. Here right now in the fourth, Edmonton now at the line for the rest of the way as Calgary's in the penalty. Just one team foul for the Stingers.
Calgary coach is upset because East's arm did come up, but it came up because it was being held by Nelson. So again, correct call. Very infrequent trips to the free throw line tonight for the Stingers, but it came at a very clutch time.
East hits both. Stingers shooting the ball very well at the line. 12 of 14. But in comparison, the Surge 26 free throws attempted so far here tonight, almost double. Cut by Thomas, finds Brown. Three won't go. Rebound, Ambrose Hilton. And Sean East comes to collect it. There's Elijah Miller, not yet back with the Stingers. So between him and East, some good point guard depth for the Stingers coming up. Hornsby to Lindsay. Scotty Lindsay finds East. Time winding down. 3 on the shot clock. And we're going to get a foul on Jameer Nelson. And Caleb Canales is going to have to be careful. He's getting a little hot on the sidelines. Did not like that call. But Sean East did get Nelson up in the air. And we'll see.
Yeah, got his offhand on the follow-through after the ball was released. Great call. Great call.
So Sean East has the only point so far here of target score time.
One of the things I love are free throw rituals, Doug. You never know when you're going to see something unique, whether it's Rick Barry's underhand free throw, but Sean East going around the back and stepping into his shot. It's a cool ritual.
And no dribble.
No dribble.
Pretty rare. You'll see players have different. I mean, that's what mine was. Just different dribbling it and just the same thing every time. But yeah.
But the difference is his go in.
Yeah. Well, hey, precisely. That's a fairly important difference. So 5 free throws here to give them that 5-point lead, the Stingers, and now the Surge trying to chip away. Lob inside. Great look from Thomas to Greg Brown.
Beautiful back cut by Brown. Good look by Thomas to finish it off. The game is far from over.
Bandu now will reset for Edmonton. Bandu off the window. Ambrose Hilton will kick it out. Step back 3. Bandu in and out.
Everything but in. Right there.
Offensive board nearly grabbed by Hornsby. And now Miller more on transition. Oh, and a wonderful follow-up by Jameer Nelson Jr.
Heady play by Nelson Jr. to follow up. Stingers got caught jogging back, not having 5 guys sprinting. You can't do that.
Pick and roll, but they couldn't find Ambrose Hilton. Lindsay, a little strong. And Nelson thought he had Miller Moore down the floor, but maybe wisely decided to hold on to the ball.
Great look for Lindsay. Guy that you want taking an open 3 like that.
It's online, just a little bit strong. Nelson Jr. will step back. 6 on the shot clock. 3 goes, and a huge run here for the Calgary Surge. 2 points away from a victory.
5-point leads mean nothing. Now this puts the Stingers in a position they've got to come down and score 2 or 3. Then they got to have a defensive stop. But step number 1. Set your action up, go down, score the basketball, then get back and play defense.
Surge get a good matchup there as they get the big man Ambrose Hilton guarding Jameer Nelson Jr. and Nelson just the...
When you get people in space like that, an ISO on a big guy, that is exactly what guards, crafty guards in particular, like Nelson Jr., are looking for, is that opportunity. Puts an awful lot of pressure. Unfortunate switch when that takes place and you get an ISO like that, and the Stingers certainly paid for it.
So 84-82. It's a 7-0 run for Calgary. Edmonton yet to have a field goal here in target time.
Well, here's what's interesting. They got a good look for Lindsay, certainly, but the Surge have done a really good job of extending their defense out and making the Stingers very uncomfortable. And I think one of the things the Stingers stopped doing in target time is passing the ball. Now that's partially due to guys not making good cuts to get the ball. And it's forced East, for instance, to hang on to the ball probably longer than Coach Baker would like him to. So Stingers right now, they have to have a good play drawn up, go down, execute. They've got to score. They've got to crash the glass, but then they're going to have to be able to go back. And what you don't want is an over-the-back foul and put Calgary on the line with a chance to win it at the free throw line. Here we go.
So the Stingers will start with this possession. Hornsby looking on Brown. And off the rim in the window and down. And we are tied at 84, so essentially next basket wins. And here is Nelson Jr. with some speed downhill. Gets around Ambrose Hilton, and it's going to be an opening night victory for the Calgary Surge, 86-84 over the Edmonton Stingers.
It was unfortunate for the Stingers because they had a lot of fouls to give. To give Nelson a straight line attack angle, and obviously you get a player like Nelson in the open court like that, way too crafty in putting our big again in a position where he has to defend on a player going to the rim who can finish like Nelson.
Yeah,
great basketball game.
One of those situations where, again, you get a player, like you said, with that kind of speed and shiftiness going downhill and not a lot of help in behind Ambrose Hilton. So nice finish, though, by Nelson Jr. at the rim. Pretty solid night for him.
Very solid. Yeah, that's I'd say pretty solid would be a good way to describe it. He's outstanding. Very, very crafty. I thought we saw two good point guards with East and with Nelson Jr. going head-to-head. Some really compelling matchups. And I think, too, what we take away from this is the Stingers have some players who we can look for great things through the course of this season from. Both teams do. It was an outstanding game one here in Expo in Edmonton on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, Doug.
Jameer Nelson will finish with 22 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and just over 24 minutes of action. Let's go to Sarah now with our game MVP, Jameer Nelson Jr.
Jameer, you went into that target time tied, and then you turned it on. First, you crashed the boards, got a great offensive rebound. Then you got a great three-point shot, and you finished everything off at the end. How's that feel?
It feels great. It's Mother's Day, so I can't let my mom down. It's like, happy Mother's Day, Mommy. No need, my mom. But I'm just trying to do whatever my team needs. My team needed an overboard day. Didn't necessarily need a three, but we went in, so I'm grateful for sure.
And you really turned it around because you've taken a couple of fouls there, and then to turn things around. How critical is that to your game to be able to take a negative and then rebound?
I would say the growth of my game, just knowing it's the neck up, and I didn't have a good third quarter, so I knew I was going to have a good fourth quarter.
All right, and talk to me about that winning basket in target time. What were you thinking? Talk us through it.
I didn't know I was going to get that open. I got full speed, so there was no reason for me to stop. Yep.
Absolutely. This is your first taste of the Edmonton and Calgary rivalry. What do you think?
I love it. I love it. I love it. They got to come to our crib, right? Yes. Come to our crib. I love it.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jameer. Appreciate it. Back to you, Doug, Paul.
What a great interview.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, he's all set for the. He hasn't been in Calgary very long. He already gets this whole rivalry thing between these two cities.
Absolutely, and he came to play. You know what? First game in a lot of ways that you can point out, but to not foul when a player like Nelson is getting ahead of steam like he did. The Stingers tried to pick up full court. Unfortunately, they got the ball in Nelson's hand on a good cut, and he was able to take it and finish it. He's just too good in the open court to be able to get ahead of steam like that and get him moving down the court, and he was clutch. It was just money in the bank.
We'll take a look at some of the work tonight by Jameer Nelson Jr. and should mention that he is our player of the game, presented by Booster Juice, and a player that really did it all night. Distributed the ball well, got to the rim just like that, and on the winning bucket.
And what you saw there was his change of speed and change of direction, which makes him so effective and difficult to guard.
And because of that, and again, we saw this matchup in target time twice on the winning bucket, net 3, Ambrose Hilton. That's a tough matchup, as you talked about, for a big man.
It absolutely is. I mean, you're always going to give the advantage to a skilled playmaker like Nelson is, in order to be able to go into a situation like that. So, you know, it's one of those things the Stingers will learn from. There's a lot of opportunities in that game to find ways to win. They did everything but win, to be quite honest. But what I loved about both teams was their level of compete for the full game was there. That did not feel like a game one in terms of the energy and the effort being put in by both teams looking for the victory.
So opening week in the CEBL continues on Thursday with last year's Western Conference champion, the Vancouver Bandits, traveling to the SaskTel Center to take on the CEBL vet Cody John and the Saskatchewan Rattlers. Of course, as mentioned, these two teams back in action on Friday. So on behalf of our whole crew, Sarah Ryan, Paul Sir, myself, Doug McLean, our wonderful crew behind the scenes bringing everything to you here tonight, we appreciate you watching this opening game of the 7th CEBL season. So it was a wonderful start to this season, tight game all the way. Big runs by both teams that ultimately led to a 2-point Calgary Surge victory as they look, after getting to the Western Conference semifinal a year ago, looking to improve on that this year.
Well, I think both teams have a lot of reason to hope for a real good season this year. Both teams are going to fill out their rosters with other players. The team that we see now isn't going to be the team we see a month from now for either, and actually for the entire league. Lots of players coming back. So, but what the players that they have, I think the coaches are outstanding. The crowd was fantastic. We just set the tone for the 7th season being the greatest season in the CEBL.
Sarah, final thoughts from you?
That was a really fun target time. That's what I want to say. That was to go in tied and to end it the way that it did. Wow. It
was. And to see a great player like Nelson beat the great player he is
and
finishing it. He did. He had that confidence, he had that presence, that sort of unteachable quality of leadership that you want in a point guard. Obviously, the pedigree is great, Doug. Having dad at home to tutor you, but he's been a great student. Obviously, he listened and has worked extremely hard.
Great start to the CEBL season, 86-84. The Calgary Surge now 5-1 all-time in Edmonton against the Stingers. Again, on behalf of our whole crew, I'm Doug McLean. Thanks for having watched. Next game, Thursday night. Stingers and Surge back in action on Friday. Good night from Edmonton.